Shaw, and I'm up here at Mark Roark's farm in Lafayette, Tennessee. We own the sprayer together, and I do all the spraying for both of us, kindly. Me and my dad and Mark own it together, and we farm in Allen County, Warren County, and Mark farms up here in Macon and Monroe County in Kentucky, and he farms in Allen County too. We partnered it, and I do the running of it because neither one of us really had enough to justify owning one on our own. We've got a little bit of everything. We've got steep ground, we've got hillsides, we've got some bottom ground, some good flat fields we run in, and small fields and bigger fields, but our average field size is not all that great around in here. We spray corn, wheat, and beans. A lot of the acres I'll go over the corn most of the time, at least. The corn ground at least twice, the bean ground at least twice to 3 times, just depends. And the wheat, we'll end up going over it 3 or 4 times at least. You know, putting the fungicide on and everything, you know. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,000 acres a year probably, between going over everything 3 and 4 times and whatever we do go over, you know. We started out a few years back with we bought a pull type sprayer and thought that would be all we needed to get us by, and we used it and noticed it seemed to run over a lot of crop, and it was slow about getting anything done. Manual fold and everything. It just had a 45-foot boom. And then we decided to go to a spray coupe. We thought that was the grandest thing at the time. And then we run it 4 or 5 years and decided to go to a 500 Apache. And we was kind of interested in something larger. So I talked to Brandon, our salesman, and we got to talking about it and figured out what he had and what we could get, and it was kind of what we was looking for. And we just tried to work a deal and traded for a 510 Apache. We had it for 2 years, and we traded, and its value held up real well. I put 600 hours on it in 2 years, and you know, it really held its value good, and we traded in on this one just to get a bigger machine, just a little taller and a little wider, and a little more capacity, you know, some of the places we got to get around on, you know. Well, the pull type, I mean, you had it behind a tractor, and which we just run 5 mile an hour with it. Could have done more, but just didn't seem like you really needed to ride no faster. The ride's so much better on these. And everything, you know, you push button, fold and unfold, and it was manual. Fold and unfold on it, and that just took a lot of time, you know, having to get out in the crops. And if you wasn't just right, it was hard to fold and unfold. And these, it don't matter, you can just fold them up and go, you know. Hit the road and you can be in another place where you could think about folding and unfolding the other ones, you know. It didn't have no road speed on it of, you know, 17 mile an hour was all you had when you went to moving from farm to farm if you didn't pull it with a truck or something, you know. And these will run 30, you know. We're liable to sometimes travel up to 20, 25 miles from one place to the other. I know from right here to some ground we've got is at least 20 to 25 miles, and Mark's the same way. From here it's 20, 25 miles. And if I leave some of my ground, go to some of his, we're liable to every bit around 25, 30 miles to get there, you know, from place to place if need be, you know. Apache just has made so much more difference in how much more I can get done in a day's time, considering the other ones that we've had in the past. I mean, we've got a lot of small fields, a lot of rough ground. But I mean, I can still spray 400 or 500 acres a day on that. You know, average field size of 10 to 40 acres, you know. You know how that goes. That takes a lot of time going from field to field, especially when you have to fold up every time or something, you know, to get from one to the other. It makes a difference. John Deere was every bit of $50,000 to $60,000 higher for basically the same machine. The John Deere, they had a 800-gallon tank, whereas this one's got the 750, which that's just 50 gallon. And they was the mechanical 4-wheel drive or whatever. And they still had we was looking at one with an 80-foot boom. Basically the same machine spec'd out, you know. But you had the John Deere swath control and everything on it. But just the price is what changed our mind as much as anything. You know, it was $50,000 to $60,000 higher than what one like this would have been. I hear of them talking they have a lot of trouble blowing hoses and stuff on the hydrostatic drives. With this one, I hadn't had a bit of trouble out of nothing on it, you know. Every time you head out, you know you're gonna be able to make it, you know, as far as that goes. Wet ground, it goes good in that. And the hillsides, it handles the hillside no problem. Full or not, it don't matter. You can just ease right around them, go on. And the booms, you know, they don't flop and everything like a lot of the other sprayers we've had done. They hold up real well on hillsides, and you can hold them like you want them instead of them bouncing around up and down real bad. We have a lot of places where it may have been a fence row years ago or a plow fur that hasn't never got leveled out real well, and you're liable to go across it and have a lot of back and forth motion, and they hold up real well. The four-wheel suspension, it just seems, you know, to do so great. You can just watch your wheels move and you don't even much more feel it, you know, on rough ground. And we've got some rough ground we run over, and you know, if you're running 15 to 17 mile an hour, you need something that rides pretty good, and it just sits there and, you know, floats right along on the ground just as well as can be, you know. So much better than the ones we've had in the past. Operating in the field, it's no problem to see anything you need to. You see your booms good, and everything's very visible and, you know, real friendly to you. The two-wheel drive, it'll go anywhere a four-wheel drive will go, I believe. I mean, I really do. It just really goes good. I've had it in some wet ground this year. We've had a real wet spring, and between wheat spraying and corn spraying and everything else, I've run through lots of water and mud and got on through it no problem, you know. Just like it wasn't, I mean, it just went right on through it. Easy to, you know, to feel and everything, easy to get around and see what you need to work on if you ever have to. And just everything's pretty visible and nothing's, you know, just where you can't get to anything, you know. If you ever had to get to anything on one, you can get to it real easily, you know. We was overlapping a lot more than I ever really realized. When we got this outfit, or we got the GPS on this one, and it made all the difference in the world, it seemed like, when you go in the field. I run the phone markers at first just to check myself and see how it done. And every time it was right on, and you know, we was probably wasting, no telling, 10 or 15% of chemical on every farm we went to, it seemed like, you know. And even the auto booms cutting themselves off, we come out to them, I wanted to make sure and cover everything, so I possibly was spraying more before I cut it off myself than what I would have, you know, than what it does now. So that saves a right smart too on chemicals and time. If you save on your chemicals and stuff, you save on time because you get over more grounds. I really like the way it works. It gives you something to go by, and it seems like it's been right on every time. We've got the tilt kit and everything on it, and it puts you right on the spot every time. All you gotta do is follow the line. We don't have the auto steer or nothing on it, but fields we got, it'd be hard for me to use it, I think. You know, it would probably be fine, but, you know, I've got the auto boom on it where to cut the boom sections off for me. I really like that part of it. It really seems to help. You know, you don't have to worry about that when you're driving. Just, you know, drive where you're supposed to and it'll cut them off like it's supposed to. That really helps out a lot instead of having to do that and watch where you're going to. I mean, you know, on 8,000 acres, we save 10 or 15%. It's right smart. I mean, several $1,000s I'd save through the year on different things you spray. You know, some stuff is higher than others, but you know how that goes. I'd say we save several $1,000s on it, enough to pay for itself pretty easy, I'm sure. You can always afford to own a sprayer, seems like to me, if you do very much at all. Because it's just, you save so much more money, time, and you can do it when you want to, is another thing. The availability of having it sitting there to do it when you want to, that's as much as anything. If I had to do over, I'd do the same thing again, because I mean, I really like the way they operate and enjoy the service we've had out of them. And I guess if I ever was to trade again, I'll get another Apache, I'd say. Probably another one just like this one. This has probably been one of the best machines we've ever had.